AT for telling my wife to shut up and let our daughter do what she wants after she came out to us. I, 39 male, have been married to my college sweetheart, 38 female, for almost 15 years now. We have a daughter, 15 female, whom I have been extremely close with since she was very little. I have told her on multiple occasions that I would do anything for her. She had just come out as bisexual to my wife and I a few nights ago, and my wife went batshit crazy. She started cursing her out, telling her how much of a disappointment she was to her, and how she'd disown her out if she ever brought a girl home. This was extremely infuriating to me, but honestly, more shocking than anything. My wife has a very strong religious background, being the daughter of a pastor. But I didn't expect her to just go completely apeshit on our daughter. I was only expecting a little stern talking to, but not that extreme. I have similar beliefs to my wife, but they're not so strong to the point where I would disown my own child because of them. I don't have the best relationship with my parents because when I was my daughter's age, I got into some legal trouble from simply hanging out with the wrong people. I spent 9 months in a juvenile detention center and was sent to live with my grandparents because my parents didn't want anything to do with me. That sent me into a deep and dark spiral of depression and feelings of being unworthy. So I vowed to myself that if I have children, I would never walk out on them, no matter what they do. I fully support all of my children in everything they do, and do my best to guide and direct them based on my own personal experiences. I spoke with my wife about it and asked if she thinks she could have handled that differently, to which she replied, "If it gets the message across that she's going to hell if she wants to sleep with a girl, then no." This only pissed me off more, and here is where I might end up being an AH. I told her to shut the hell up and let our daughter do what she wants to do. My wife then started screaming at me, and that she wouldn't hesitate to file for divorce if I supported my daughter's lifestyle. I dared her to, and now I haven't spoken with her for the past few days. So now I'm debating if this marriage has run its course on this one argument alone. I love my wife, but I most certainly won't choose her over my daughter in this situation. So I'll leave it up to Reddit. Am I being the AH here for taking my daughter's side and telling my wife to shut the hell up about it? Edit. I just want to add this here for some context to a bunch of the comments that I've read. Yes, I share beliefs in the fact that homosexuality is a sin, but there are so many other things that are sin too. Lying, stealing, cheating, sex before marriage. My daughter was conceived to sex before marriage. Having a child out of wedlock. My daughter was born a few months before our wedding. I don't think that one sin outweighs the other, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. Sin equals sin. But because I'm no saint, I'm no perfect person by no means. I've made mistakes, I've done wrong, and will continue to do wrong for as long as I live. I will continue to sin and fall short no matter how hard I try not to. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and disown my daughter just because she's done wrong, because at the end of the day, I'm no better than her. Also, I wholeheartedly believe that homosexuality is not a choice. People don't wake up one day and suddenly decide to be attracted to the same gender. My daughter didn't choose to like girls no more than I chose to be white. She likes what she likes, and there is absolutely no fault in that. I did in fact speak with my daughter, and as you can imagine, she was distraught and in disbelief. There was definitely some guilt on my end for not stepping in sooner and speaking on her behalf, to which I apologized for. Her mother was completely out of line and ignorant. I have been reminding my daughter that I love and support her and will stand 10 toes down behind her. She has not spoken to her mom and has voiced to me that she probably won't, unless her mom apologizes to her. I honestly don't see that apology coming anytime soon. And lastly, I did in fact say more than just that. But the gist was that I told her to shut the hell up. I could make an entirely separate post for what I said to her exactly. Divorce papers loading. Edit number 2. I wanted to make another edit to address another thing. Tons of people have brought the question that if homosexuality is a choice, how can it be a sin? Which is a very fair and valid point. Just wanted to provide some clarification. Whether you believe homosexuality is a sin or not is your business. The point I wanted to make is that regardless of whether you view it as a sin or not, doesn't matter, truthfully. If you do think it's a sin, gay people are still sinners. If you don't think it is, gay people are still sinners. And so are straight people. I don't look at my daughter any differently because she likes women. I don't treat her any differently than any other human being. At the end of the day, my daughter will forever and always be my daughter, and nothing will ever change that. Whether she's gay, bi, etc., I'm no better than my daughter, and neither is anybody else in the world. Sorry for not making that clear, but hopefully this helps a bit. Edit 3. Hopefully the last edit I have to make. Sorry, guys. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm just wanting y'all to have my full stance on the situation. I don't care that my daughter is bisexual. It changes absolutely nothing about our relationship. I do think that God did, in fact, make her this way. Very good points that if homosexuality is a choice, then how is it a sin? As humans, we are sinful by nature. We are all born sinful. We didn't ask to be born that way. We didn't have the choice. We are all made in the image of God, despite being born with a sinful nature. We can try as hard as we can to limit our sin, but we will never get rid of it altogether. Because of this, I wouldn't try and change my daughter's sexual orientation even if I wanted to, because even if she was straight, she still wouldn't be perfect. And her being bisexual doesn't make her any worse than anyone else. I wholeheartedly support her. Always have. And I always will. She is free to love whomever she pleases, and I hope that she will never let anyone change that. Love is love. And as a Christian, I will continue to love and support my daughter. Through and through. Update. I spoke with my daughter about the situation to get her thoughts on everything, to which she just said, it is what it is, and that she was scared that might happen, and that absolutely broke my heart. I reassured her that there is nothing she could do to make me stop loving her, and that I wish her mother would have shared that same feeling. Then I broke the news to her. I'm divorcing your mother. At first, she smiled because she thought I was joking. Then she began to cry because she thinks she's ruined the family. I told her that I wasn't divorcing her mother because of her, but because of what her mother said to her. It's absolutely not her fault. She bawled her eyes out, and I didn't know what to say. I just gave her the biggest hug I could and told her that it would be unfair and wrong to force her to continue to grow up in a household with so much hatred directed at her for no reason. I see people of the LGBTQ+ community ridiculed daily in the world, and I'll be damned if I let it happen to her in her own house. That's unhealthy, mentally and emotionally. I contacted my lawyer about the situation, and within days, my wife was served with divorce papers. Everything was crystal clear. My wife of 15 years has shown me her true colors. I did, in fact, marry the devil. I have a long list of regrets in my life, and not seeing her for who she truly is sooner is definitely one of them. My girlfriend, 24F, basically catfished me 28 months to see if I'd cheat. I'm furious and don't know if this is grounds for breaking up or not. Me and Samantha have been together for 4.5 years. We'd live together and have a generally great life and are very happy together. I did, however, just find out that she's been essentially catfishing me for at least 2 of these years. She's made an account on Instagram, which she proceeded to use to follow me and try to DM me as this catfish. And same with Facebook. 2 different women's photos, but both are Samantha. I found out from her best friend who told me in private and said she's been doing this for 2 years and can even show me the real woman. She said she did it to see if I'd ever be unfaithful. But 2 years? I'm unsure what to do from here on out. She doesn't know I know yet, and I don't know how to bring it up. I'm honestly furious. I've been great to this girl for 4 years and wouldn't hurt her. But she obviously still doesn't trust me and has basically had a whole made-up life as someone else trying to get with me? Update. So, after posting that originally, I honestly went with the first few responses and decided to just confront her. A lot of people were asking me how I know it isn't the best friend, or to make sure it isn't her first, which is understandable. But I know this woman, and she's happily married and a mother of 4. I've known her forever. So I had no reason to believe she'd lie, or to believe she'd be doing the catfishing. And also, she told me that my girlfriend told her about it to get the secret out to someone she could trust, but that she felt I deserved the truth, and my girlfriend wasn't even totally honest with her either. I was also asked multiple times about the 2 women my girlfriend used to catfish me with, and why I talked to them for so long. I am a social worker, and she kinda used it against me, and pretended to be women that were in need of help, or were in abusive relationships. And I work with this on the daily, so it was no surprise to me to have them contact me, as I'm very public and open with my job. Never once was I inappropriate with these women. In fact, I actively talked about my girlfriend very positively, especially if they were going toward trying to flirt with me or be inappropriate toward me. So, for the update. I confronted my girl, and she broke down immediately, not admitting anything at first, but just crying without saying anything. She then told me to please not be angry, but that 2 years ago she met a guy at work. They immediately fell in love, and she knew she wanted to be with him. She said they slept together and spent time together while I was away, or while I was working. She decided to catfish me to get me to cheat on her, so she wouldn't be seen as a cheater who left her boyfriend for no real reason. She told me she didn't think it'd take long, and I'd fall for something, and I never did. She admitted it wasn't even just those 2 women, and she even tried to get her new man to help out to somehow make me unfaithful. Her best friend told her that I got an engagement ring and was planning to purpose, which apparently freaked my girl out because she absolutely didn't want to marry me and then be stuck. So I'm 99% sure she told her friend about the catfishing, hoping she'd come back to me with the newfound news and I would end it. If that's the case, she got her wish. She's in the process of moving out her things, and although I'm staying calm, I'm extremely hurt by her actions, and hurt that she betrayed me. So for now, I'll stay single and focus on my work. And in the future, I'll have an amazing girl to give this engagement ring to. And until then, I'll be healing, I guess. I want to thank everyone who responded and offered advice, and also apologize for taking so long and not answering questions. My job is very demanding, and I didn't expect much advice anyway. AITH for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter while he went out with another woman. I feel like I need some outside perspective on a really tough situation. My husband and I have been married for 19 years, and we have 3 kids together, a 13-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. Our journey to parenthood wasn't easy. We faced a lot of fertility struggles, and my husband has been my rock through it all. That's why this situation has hit me so hard. Recently, I started thinking about divorce after I realized my husband had left our young children alone at home while he went out on what appears to be a date with another woman. It's been difficult for me to process everything, and I'm still unsure if I'm overreacting. His parents seem to think it was just a mild mistake, but I honestly find that hard to swallow. A couple of days ago, I decided to take a much-needed me day. I told my husband how I felt, and he agreed I could go out for a bit. I went out with my mom and sister for lunch, a mini shopping spree, and we even got our nails done. It was lovely to have some time to unwind. I left the house around 1 p.m., planning to be back around 6 p.m. My husband was supposed to be at home with the kids since we didn't have anyone to babysit on short notice. While I was out, I received notifications from our Ring camera. Around 5:50 p.m., I saw something was happening at the front door. I called my husband, who assured me everything was fine and that he was just picking up pizza. I thought nothing of it, knowing he was with the kids. Fast forward to around 6 p.m. when I got another notification that he was back home. Due to the long wait at the nail salon and bad traffic, I didn't arrive home until about 8 p.m. When I got inside, I immediately noticed something was off. My husband's car was gone. I walked into the house to find my toddler playing with spit, and my newborn was crying uncontrollably. My teenage daughter was in tears because she couldn't calm the baby down. I quickly took the baby, changed her, fed her, and got her to bed, checking in with my daughter to see what happened. She told me she didn't know where her dad was, but that he had told her to watch the kids because he had something important to do. I comforted her and reassured her that it was a big task for her to handle alone. I felt awful she had been put in that situation. My husband finally came home around 10 p.m., looking somewhat drunk. When I asked where he had been, he casually claimed he was with his wife and having a good time. It felt like a slap in the face. He took off his pants and acted as if everything was normal, completely dismissing what had just happened. The next day, when I confronted him about his absence, he lied and said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. I was furious and called him out for being dishonest, insisting I knew he had been out with another woman. I reached out to my mother-in-law and my own mom for advice, trying to gain some perspective. My mill minimized it, saying it was a common mistake for men and that I needed to move on for the kids' sake. You know, they need their father at home. I've been doing a lot of soul-searching since that day. Part of me wants to fight for our marriage, to believe we can work through this rough patch. However, another part of me is devastated and feels that I deserve better. I think about filing for divorce, seeking child support, and pursuing full custody of the kids so I can provide them with a stable environment. So here I am, wondering if I'm being the asshole for even considering divorce. Am I overreacting? Should I be more forgiving because of our history? Or am I justified in wanting to leave this relationship for the happiness and safety of myself and my children? Update. My husband and I went back and forth for a couple more days after my last post. I finally got him to watch the video, and it proved he was the one lying while saying I was. He kept watching it and coming up with excuse after excuse. I told him that if our marriage fell apart, it would be because of his behavior that night. I asked him a few things. 1, why did he leave our daughter with the babies? 2, what was he doing? 3, who was this so-called second wife? All he could say was that I was being too dramatic and that I was not trusting him too much. I shot back. You broke my trust when you left the babies alone with our kid. I told him he had one chance to come clean, and if he didn't, we'd have to talk about divorce, child support, and all that. Still, he stood firm, saying, I didn't do anything. I was so frustrated. I asked him why he couldn't just be honest. His answer? Why do you think I was cheating? That's not trusting me. I reminded him that he had admitted to being with his wife right in front of me. He said, I was drunk. I replied that he shouldn't have gone out and gotten drunk without a way to get home safely while our kids were at home without an adult. He apologized, but that didn't change what he did. I told him his actions messed up our daughter's trust in him, hurt our marriage, and affected our parenting. He just kept pushing his own narrative about that night. On April 17th, he told me I was overreacting and that we should keep it together for the kids. I reminded him that he lied to me, called me a liar, put our kids in danger, and wrecked our marriage. Then he snapped and got mad, claiming there was a reason for everything but wouldn't tell me anything. On April 19th, he came clean and admitted he's been seeing another woman, calling her his second wife. He told me that if I couldn't accept it, then it didn't matter to save a marriage that was already falling apart, with only me trying to hold it together. I shot back that since he was the one ruining our marriage and wrecking our lives with this nonsense, then fine, let it be. I told him he'd be the reason our kids wouldn't have a dad in the house because of his selfish, ignorant, and irresponsible behavior. He lied to our daughter about her phone, put our kids in a tough spot, lied to me, messed up our